To you today about the 5 songs that make up the EP called Pieces of Her Heart. This is probably my most personal recording to date as I talk about some of the most challenging parts of my life up until this point. I talk more about my coming out experience and how that impacted the lives of my 2 children, and so this is a very vulnerable and hopeful songs. Of course, there's always hope in these songs, and hopefully there's something that will relate to you and that you will find has an impact on your life. So the first song I'm going to talk about is called She Didn't Know. This song I wrote sort of out of nowhere. It came to me more or less out of the blue. It does talk about being vulnerable, not realizing that I was vulnerable, that she was vulnerable. And then I really talk a lot about how I didn't really know what was going on, and that there were things that I was thinking about, seeing how my emotions were changing, but it all came back to the fact that I wanted to be able to live in a more passionate way and be involved in my passionate projects, which I have had the opportunity to do. And so that's really what that song talks about. I love the images in the song. There's a dragon in the song. There are the nesting dolls. I talk about those as well. I just love all the images that came to me for this song. And I'm really grateful to my muse who gave me these images to be able to talk about what it meant to be trying to find one's own passionate life. So the next song that I want to talk to, it really relates the most to the first song that I put out as a single actually in October of 2019, She Didn't Know. And She Broke the Code is a song that talks about the fact that I did do something that was breaking the code, was not following along the way that my life was supposed to go. I had been living a very civilized life, a particular life in the fact that I was a minister's wife, and so there felt that there were many expectations on me in that role. I was a young mother and a nurse as well, and then I chose to go a different way and to have a different life, and this did have an impact on my children. So in this song I talk some about that. It's probably some of the most tender moments for me in when I was recording it, because I was remembering what that was about, and I'm sure that this kind of song too can relate to many of us where there have been difficult things, where we have tried to perhaps hide those feelings from our loved ones who are around us. So Pieces of Her Heart is the title track for this EP, which I also plan to release as a single, and it is my remembering of a most challenging day and time when I had gone with my ex-husband to a mediator, and we were trying to figure out how were things going to be as we went forward, what was going to happen in the care of our children. And so this too is a very tender place for me, and the song, I think the way it was produced, how my producer Brad Prosco brought it together, and how he produced it, and the other instruments that go with the song helped to really enhance that, the tenderness of what was going on for me. So I really appreciate that, and I hope my description of it will make you want to listen to it. Pieces of Her Heart. Yeah, it feels like my favorite song to date. Walked Away is got a little bit of a country twang. It is a breakup song. I wrote this song many years ago, and it felt like it fit with this project. It talks about having left a relationship and realizing that I needed to, because I needed to have my life back. And I had a series of those relationships, unfortunately, but I did learn a lot and grew a lot from those times. And so really the impact of the song is the fact that I couldn't stay. I hope to find someone I could stay with, but just that idea of not giving oneself up, which often, unfortunately, in intimate relationships, it can happen so easily, right? And it's not what we would like to do. So walked away, I think, is something that, yeah, there's probably a lot of people who could relate to that they needed to go, they needed to end the relationship, they just couldn't keep on with the relationship. So the final song on the EP, and also a single that I have released, or plan to release as I'm here recording this. Laura's going to doctor this so well for me. Anyway, Sorry, I'm So Sorry. So this is a song about reconciliation. I wrote this song maybe a month after I had a conversation with my ex-husband where I had ended up apologizing to him really for entering into our relationship when I didn't really know myself as well as I could have, and where I didn't even realize that I needed to make an apology. So that is where the song comes from. It's a really upbeat song. It's a different character than the rest of the songs on the EP. As a single, I think it will stand alone very well, and does stand alone very well. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And then goes on to talk about, why we made the choices that we did, why we couldn't stay together even though there'd been a really profound connection for us in many ways. And then the fact that, there has been forgiveness, that there is still love. And I think this is really hopeful. And I know when I had lunch with my ex-husband a couple months ago when I was in Montreal, and we, put it out there on Facebook, and an old friend said, wow, isn't that great that you can still be in contact with each other? Of course, it's been a bumpy road, but this song, I think, is one of great hope, and reconciliation is a possibility. So that's the wind up for Pieces of Her Heart, and I hope that some of the descriptions of the songs will make you want to listen to them, and that as a whole it will be a launch pad into the next thing that's going to be happening down the road.